I put a candle on a little cube, hit it with some lights, and then dropped this insanely moody background behind it. It looks like the candle is kind of floating in this dreamy, otherworldly scene, and honestly, that whole vibe was made with AI. I used Midjourney to build the background, and for stuff like this, AI backgrounds are kind of a game changer. Stock images are fine, but if you can picture something in your head, like a candle floating surrounded by outstretched hands, it's nearly impossible to find the exact photo you want on a stock site. With Midjourney, you just describe it and it builds variations until one of them clicks. Quick aside before we get into the AI workflow. Let me show you the physical setup I used for this shot, just so you can picture how the foreground and background come together. I keep it simple. Two 100-watt LED panels for the green screen so it's evenly lit, and then 360-watt bulbs focused on the candle itself. The candle sits on cube props. You really only need 2 cubes because the camera only sees 2 of them, but I had 4 out of habit. For the foreground, I used a looping magic fairy dust overlay, resized it, dropped it in front of the candle, and that little bit of motion sold the illusion. So yeah, physically it's straightforward. A few lights, a green screen, and a couple of cubes. You don't need a full studio to pull this off. Now the fun part is definitely creating the background itself. I literally typed a short prompt into Midjourney, something like girl holding out her hands, 8K, nightlight, cinematic, dark mystical background, hit imagine, and waited a few minutes. Midjourney then spits out a grid of variations right away. The first batch might be close, or totally wild, but that's the beauty of it. You can pick the one that's closest to your vision and then generate variations specifically from that image. For this scene, I kept iterating because I wanted the hand placement to look natural and the lighting to match my candle. Fingers can be weird in AI renders, so I made a couple of rounds of variations until the hands looked right. When you finally find the version you like, hit upscale to get a larger, cleaner image to drop into your composition. If you've ever scrolled stock sites for 5 to 10 minutes trying to find exactly the same pose or mood you have in your head, you know how annoying it is. With Midjourney, the workflow is basically imagine, then iterate, then refine, and finally upscale. You control the vision completely instead of settling for the closest match available. The downside is you might need to tweak a few times, and sometimes details like fingers, eyes, or tiny props get a little off. But again, that's what variations are for. Just keep nudging the algorithm until it gets exactly where you need it to be. Okay, so now you have the perfect AI image and your foreground footage ready to go. The next challenge isn't just making one pretty scene, it's turning that one long tutorial or demo into dozens of bite-sized clips that actually perform on social media. Most creators I know spend so much time making a single long video and then completely drown when it comes to repurposing it for Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube Shorts. That's where an AI video tool becomes insanely useful for managing the chaos. Let me be clear, this AI tool is not an image generator like Midjourney was for the visuals. Think of Midjourney as your set designer and this new tool as your editor and publishing assistant all rolled into one. You use the image generator to craft perfect backgrounds, then you use the editor to chop, polish, and send those moments out into the world. Here are the main reasons why this AI editor matters so much in your new workflow. First, the auto editing feature scans long videos and pulls out potentially viral segments automatically. So instead of manually scrubbing through an hour-long tutorial, the AI identifies the best highlights, trims them, and formats them into ready-to-post vertical clips. That simple automation alone saves you hours of painstaking work every single week. Second, the auto-schedule feature means you absolutely do not have to babysit your uploads anymore. Just set the posting frequency and the tool will cue those clips to go live exactly according to your desired cadence. Third, the content calendar gives you a one-stop place to see, schedule, modify, and publish across all your different social platforms. This means you can manage every clip, caption, and posting time without ever hopping between different apps. Compare that to the old way. Manual editing is powerful, but it becomes mind-numbingly slow when you have a lot of content to repurpose. Some AI editors can do parts of this, but they are either too expensive, limited to just one platform, or they miss the context so the cuts feel robotic. This tool hits that perfect sweet spot. It's tuned for creators needing quick, high-quality repurposing across platforms without breaking the bank while still letting your personality shine through. Now let's jump back to some specific production tips for getting that composite perfect. When combining that AI background with your real candle, pay very close attention to the color temperature and the light direction. If the AI background has a strong top left rim light, but your candle is lit from the bottom right, the composite will instantly look fake. You should always try to use proper 3-point lighting on the candle. That means a key, a fill, and a dedicated hair light. Remember to keep 2 or 3 separate lights dedicated just to the cubes so they don't fall completely into shadow. For the foreground, a subtle looping particle or fairy dust effect works absolute wonders because it adds depth and motion and hides edge issues. When prompting Midjourney for backgrounds, always be specific, but also remember to give the AI a little room to be creative. Powerful aesthetic steering words like cinematic, moody, 8K, photorealistic, or soft volumetric lighting really help guide the result. If you specifically need hands in the shot, be precise like hands naturally outstretched, palms up with a cinematic rim light, and then start your iteration process. If you notice the fingers are wonky, you just ask for realistic hands or photorealistic hands and then create fresh variations based on that feedback. Always upscale your final pick to make sure it's perfectly crisp and ready for your highest resolution canvas. Make sure you save all the intermediate iterations because sometimes you might want to mix and match elements in your compositing software later on. Once that AI background is finalized, the next step is simply compositing it directly behind your perfectly keyed foreground footage. To really push the effect further, add unifying color grading, maybe slightly warm the candle, and use a subtle vignette to keep the focus exactly where it should be. Little technical things like matching the film grain and the motion blur are what ultimately sell the integration between the two layers. Now, we get to the final piece of the puzzle where the video tool acts as a massive content multiplier. Drop your entire finished and graded long-form video right into the AI editor to begin the process. Let the AI analyze the whole thing. It automatically surfaces clips with high energy, punchy statements, or quick demos that are known to perform well as shorts. The tool can automatically generate captions, suggest the best thumbnail frames, and format the final clips for vertical or horizontal platforms. That auto-schedule feature lets you simply set a goal, like posting 2 clips a day for the next 2 weeks, and the system queues them all up for you. The content calendar then shows you everything perfectly lined up, allowing you to tweak a caption or swap a thumbnail before pushing the final update to every connected platform. If you're wondering about competitors, some tools promise a full one-click solution, but they only give you generic edits that completely miss the nuance of your unique work. Other tools are just too pricey and built for massive enterprise teams, which is total overkill for solo creators trying to grow their presence online. This editor hits that creator-friendly price point and actually focuses on making clips that feel totally native to the social platforms. It is not a perfect one-click solution, as you still want to review and polish the AI-picked clips, but it is massively faster than doing the whole process manually. So the workflow I recommend for a project like this candle setup starts with shooting the footage using simple, consistent lighting and a clean green screen. Step 2 is to create the background in Midjourney and iterate relentlessly until the hands and the lighting feel absolutely right. Step 3 involves taking those two elements, compositing them, and then applying your final color grade to the long-form piece. Step 4 is uploading that master to the AI editor, letting it automatically analyze and generate all those different short clips. And finally, step 5 is using the content calendar to schedule out a steady, consistent drip of clips across all your various social media channels. That way, one single creative shoot can easily become dozens of high-performing pieces of content that drive reach without completely burning you out. For some final pro tips, always keep your original project files and all your AI assets neatly organized so you can revisit them easily down the road. Make sure you save multiple versions of those Midjourney generations because you absolutely might want to mix and match elements in your compositing software later on. And don't trust any auto-edit blindly. Glance through the clips before scheduling. But if you want to take a single creative idea, like a floating candle scene, and turn it into a multi-week posting plan, combining the image generator and the editor is a ridiculously efficient combo. Alright, that's it. A quick tour of how I built that floating candle look with AI and how I turned one long video into an entire content pipeline. If you're trying to scale your output without hiring an editor for every single clip, that Midjourney plus editor workflow will save you a ton of time and make your content way more consistent. Go play with prompts, light your candle, and let the AI do the heavy lifting for the background while the editor does the heavy lifting for the content grind.